didn't know he got married before he did? What was it going to change? What was going to change if I knew and this, that, and the third? What was it going to change? I would have felt better about my husband, I could tell you that. That's obvious. However, there would have still been a part of me that found wrong in him.
Warning, viewer discretion is advised. The content, views, and educational material you are about to experience could challenge your belief, trigger strong emotions, and frankly, piss you off. This isn't for everyone. If you're not ready to confront new ideas, or if your feelings bruise easily, this might be the time to click away. Expect to be challenged, to think, and you might even want to scream at the screen. Proceed with caution, and remember, you chose to be here. Let's get it.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships and co-author of the new book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. So, if you guys need to pick up this book, visit letstalkpolygamy.com for details. Let's jump right into this video, though. One thing I want to say to wives, specifically, how are you going to win in polygamy if you keep playing victim? Stop it. Because what ends up happening is a few things. You remain the victim. You can't heal. You will always create an atmosphere of contempt and resentment. Usually it starts with resentment and then it ends up being contempt. Because how can you grow if you refuse to heal? If you keep saying, I'm the victim, look what they did to me. I'll give you an example. I was like, this is really jacked up. It's messed up. I feel very hurt by my husband, and I did. And he knows it. And I said what I needed to say to him and not others. I said what I needed to say to him. But what I learned through much personal development in my own research and growth, I had to do that to become a coach, first of all, that I was in this cycle of victimhood. So somebody had to be the bad guy for me to be the victim. So that meant my husband had to be the bad guy. This is someone who has always taken care of me. Our children has always been there for us, has always been a leader. Does that mean he was perfect? No, and I didn't have an expectation that he would be because that's an impossibility because I sure wasn't. But I had to look at his life and see, did he have support? Did he have a supportive community? Did he have brothers that knew? He didn't have any of that. So he was doing this on his own, mentally, physically, spiritually. And he kept turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He kept praying. He prayed more. He always prayed. Don't get me wrong. He's always been a practicing Muslim for over 30 years now. But he got just that much better in polygyny because he needed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. And for those of you that aren't Muslim, that's okay. We understand you are welcome here. I understand that it's not okay that you're not Muslim. Maybe just do some research and may you discover more through learning about Islam. You know, I used to think we Muslims were a bunch of crazy people. When I was in high school, I was like, they got too much going on. They're doing too much. And look at me now. I've been Muslim for over 30 years. Alhamdulillah. But I had to look inward. And I said, Fatima, you are playing the victim. Ask yourself better questions. Instead of saying, okay, look here. This is not going to work. I can't do this. This is not for me. You did this. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And he's learning his lessons and he's continued to grow. The growth I've seen in Coach Nazir is incredible because I met him when he was 14 and he's not 14 anymore. Okay. He's a grown man that's married, a father of 10, a biological father of 10 with 2 bonus children, adults. So I've seen much growth in him, but I needed to see it in myself. I needed to see it in myself, which meant I needed to grow and stop playing and being the victim. Yeah, it happened. I didn't agree with how it happened, but I couldn't say it was haram for him. We can argue in these comments, all right? Because it's clear it wasn't. So I thought about it. I said, okay, how am I going to grow? I grew the moment I said, he has another wife, Fatimah, talking to myself in the mirror. He has another wife, and nothing you do is going to change the fact. So what are you going to do for you? What do you need to change inside of you? Assumptions, judgments, finding a wrongdoer, because sometimes the wrongdoer was me. And I was willing to accept it. After a long journey in personal development. And yeah, people had their flare-ups. I mean, I've had my flare-ups over the years. Flare-ups meaning, you're trying to get clarity and you make an assumption and you were all wrong. I'll give you an assumption that I made, especially about my co-wife. Oh my God. I was like, this person, I don't have no use for her at all. This is his wife. He'd keep that over there. And I have my reasonings for saying that. The environment made me feel as such. Even though that wasn't the intention. That was not the intention. I know that now. And if it was, I'd say it. I have no problem with saying that. But the issue is, I wasn't getting the proper understanding from my co-wife. I wasn't giving her the chance to tell me her side. It was all based off of what he was doing, what he wasn't doing, what he didn't understand, what he hadn't figured out yet. It was like, this is probably her influence. And he's grown. He has his own thoughts. He's able to critically think on his own. He is a thinker. So I knew he was able to drive his own gets his own destination, but because that's the man he showed up to be. However, he had never been in polygyny, so this was difficult. This was different for him. And I was like, he made a decision. He have to have this all figured out, and he did not. I like what Coach Nazir said, because it helped me so much. He said, I had the logistics of polygyny figured out, like the financing, the housing, those things. He said, but I didn't. And he had an emotional part. That was probably one of the most transparent times I've seen him in his whole life, when he said that. He said, I didn't have it figured out. The way he said it, the energy he had, the vulnerability, the transparency, the honesty, there was a human nature about making that statement, because I knew he knew he was a better man. But it's like, you don't know how to navigate the emotional part, like I didn't. So looking back, I can see how he was unable to do that at that time. Sometimes our spouses don't have the tools, and we don't have them. And then you get two people together that don't have the tools, and then they meet in the middle, and it becomes difficult. It becomes a marriage that's new to them in a bad way.
You're already on our channel, and you see how we are empowering people when it comes to polygamy education. You may be wondering, what's the next step? Especially knowing that we are the authors of the book,
Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. If you want to get off the emotional roller coaster, whether it's jealousy, insecurity, frustration, anger, maybe even guilt in some cases, you're going to want to pick up this book.
Definitely wish I would have had this book back a while ago when we first embarked on polygyny. And you will learn a lot of things about minding your marriage and what that actually means, so you're not comparing your marriage to your co-wives or anybody else's for that matter.
If you've heard, I'm not against polygamy, I just against when it's not done right, you want to learn how to do it right, this will teach you how to be more than twice the man you need to be to get it done. Let's talk polygamy.com. We look forward to shipping yours off to you.
And they're really going, man, I wish this didn't hurt so doggone bad, but I don't know what to do. And I mean, as a Muslim woman, I prayed a lot. He prayed a lot, and we all did. But I also had to do something, which was, again, get out of my own way and stop judging everything and everyone because I didn't know he got married before he did. What was it going to change? What was going to change if I knew and this, that, and the third? What was it going to change? I would have felt better about my husband, I could tell you that. That's obvious. However, there would have still been a part of me that found wrong in him somewhere. It would have been easier mentally, but man, oh man, I would have went through it regardless because I was in a space of victimhood. That's where I was resting. I was residing in there. I'd set up shop in there. So I had to understand, stop that. Fatimah, you were, it was friendly fire. It was self-inflicted wounds. I was doing all that to me. Nobody was doing that to me. He was willing to have the conversation. I wasn't. But he didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up. But I understood better that I could have brought it up. What am I waiting on him for? I didn't have to wait on him. I could have brought it up, got clarity. I had a role in it. I had a role in my pain. I played a part in my pain. And I had to understand and be really honest with myself about that. And I knew, I said, Fatimah, you could have did better. Don't put this on everybody else. Don't blame everybody else. Don't sit up here in this victimhood. And I had to get out of it. And it took me some time. But it felt so good when I did. I felt free. I felt free. And only then was I able to absorb enough information, and I'm still learning, right? I was able to absorb enough information to understand that I could see something in myself that Coach Nazir saw in me. He saw a coach in me. And I was like, ooh, no, I'm not getting on, no, I'm not getting on YouTube. Oh, no, sir. He was like, you got to be willing to get in front of the camera. He said that to me. And I remember that he was going out of the door because he knew his wife enough to know, man, I couldn't do that face to camera. I'll talk to these people though, but I can't do that face to camera stuff. He was like, okay. And he saw it in me. So I always tell my clients, if you got anybody to thank, thank my husband because he saw a coach in me before I saw it in myself. Because polygyny is a touchy subject. I was like, I don't want to talk about how I didn't know. And I don't want to talk about, I'm embarrassed. I'm doing all this stuff. And here you go, getting married and behind the scenes. I was like, no. You tell that story. I'll be here while you tell it. And then I said, no, that's not how that works. Not in my life, not for me, not for growth, not for the health of my marriage. I want to help the women that are hurting and the families that are hurting and the children that are hurting because I know what that feels like. Not in great detail because we're all different. But I don't want that for my family any longer. I had to make a choice. And getting out of my own way was one big choice I had to make. And stopping with assumption is one big choice I had to make. Talking to my co-wife and giving her a chance to say her side and speak her piece. That was a big choice I had to make. I was standing in the way of that. She was always willing. She was always willing to talk to me. And I know why I had to keep that over there mentality. I know why. I know why. But I couldn't sit there and make her wrong because I had a reason why I didn't want to talk to her. I couldn't do that. So that wasn't fair because, and then I thought about it. I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. I would want them to let me say my piece. I said, Fatimah, if the tables were turned, how would you feel about that? That wouldn't feel good. That wouldn't feel good. And in talking to her, I found so much clarity, so much maturity, so much willingness to learn from me and listen, and then me do the same for her. And this conversation was not pushed forward by us talking about being Coach Nazir's wives. That's not all we are. He's part of my life. He's not my life. He's part of it. He's a very important part of it. But he's not the reason that I live and breathe. He's not. Creator is. So I need to do something with my life while I still have it. And that is the goal. And let it be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let it be pleasing to God. Because what I was doing before wasn't. So that relationship had to take precedence over any relationship. And my passionate love should have been for the Creator and not for my husband, the way I was set up. It wasn't right. So while we were sitting up judging others and playing the victim, know that we're wasting valuable time and we're delaying our healing. That's what I did. So I encourage every woman that's listening to me, don't delay your healing, because you're getting the attention from being the victim. Does every woman experience that? Does every wife do that? No, they don't. And I'm not speaking to every wife. I'm not speaking to all the married women. I'm speaking to women. And they could share it with somebody else. So if you have made it this far, you've got some gems from this video, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share, because sharing is caring. And hit the notification bell, because you always want to know when we have uploaded, okay? Make sure you share and watch everybody's videos. Sometimes they pick teams and want to watch mine, watch Coach Nyla's, watch Coach Nazir, watch all of them, because you're going to get some clarification on everybody's side. And that helps so much. It helps in actually healing the heart. It's a heart softener as well. If you're committed to change and not just intrigued by choice, make sure you visit me at CoachFatimah.com for details on my coaching program, Nourishing Fulfillment. So I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure that you are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. Sound like peace.